Lisa and I work together at I got tongue-tied, at Four Corners Yoga Wellness Studio, and she is one of the yoga instructors there. I like to call her my boss, but she doesn't like when I say that, so I won't say it today that she's my boss.
Yeah.
I feel bad because we had a conversation.
Yes, we did.
Before.
Yes,
you just
my memory is
now?
horrible.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what? Bostonians ain't shit.
At least you owned it. At least, you know what though? You remembered.
That's most important.
You remembered. So you want to give us a little something about yourself, Lisa?
About myself. Well, I am a death doula. I am also a birth doula, yoga instructor. I do have a full-time job at a major hospital, and I do mindfulness and meditation as well.
You're a busy bee.
I am.
I appreciate you being here this evening because I just heard your whole life and I was like, she tired. That's what I heard. That is definitely what I heard. And usually I like to give a disclaimer that the podcast is just usually it's our experiences, but today we actually have a professional. So this is actually facts that you'll be providing to us with some on-point information. This isn't just how we feel about things. This is actually a profession. This is what you do. So you are pretty much what we can call an expert in this field. So there aren't really any opinions until there are, if that makes sense.
Okay.
All right. You ready to talk about your death doula experience here? What is it, your third, fourth job?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Yep.
So what exactly is a death doula?
So if you know what a birth doula is, right? A birth doula is welcoming life into the universe, and a death doula is sort of helping to facilitate the journey out of life. And so a death doula is someone who provides support to the person who is dying and also to the network that this person has. I think oftentimes when people think of a death doula, they think that you're sitting there at the time of death, right? For many death doulas, that's not the situation. It is, how are you preparing the family and the person for the death that's coming? And also, like, what are you doing for the person who's dying? I see death and dying as a sacred thing. And so, at the point, people are usually reconciling with how they've lived their life, right? And also scared. And so wanting someone there to sort of sit with them, as well as giving the family a break. Death can take a long time, right? And so being there for the person to give logistical support, emotional support, holistic support, not clinical support. So that's the one thing that really distincts a death doula from another professional that's in that space.
Okay. That might answer one of my questions that I have later on, but what first led you to become a death doula?
I think I've always been fascinated by death.
Really?
Yeah. Well, my mom, she's always spoken about death very casually. So from a young age, she would have, back home we call them suitcase, packed with all the things that should something happen to her, this is where I should go. And I was home last year. The suitcase is still there, packed with the things.
Packed and ready to go?
Ready to go. And she would always say things like, we're not here to turn stone. And so as I grew up, I began to understand what that meant. And so I think that's where my fascination began. Fast forward, I am just really intrigued by how we're sitting here having a conversation, how we run our lives and do things, and then nothing.
Right.
Like, what is that all about? And the people who study biology and stuff will say, well, when you buy roses, for instance, don't the roses just die? Yeah, but they weren't speaking to each other. They didn't have jobs. It just fascinates me as to what happens next. So it's I wouldn't say it's not something that I'm fearful about, but definitely very interested. And I do think that our fear of our own mortality or speaking about death and dying is something that has been systemically carved out. Yeah.
I'm going to go back to a few things you said. Where is home? You mentioned home.
Home is Trinidad.
Hey. Shout out to the Caribbean. Shout out to Trinidad specifically for you and for those watching.
Yeah.
And when you said we're not here to turn over stone, like that is a saying in the Caribbean. Would you like to explain what that means?
So that means that at some point we will be like stone, right? We will be not movable. We will not have life. And, we're here to make an impact and then get to the other realm, if there is another realm.
That was one of my questions to you. Do you believe in the afterlife?
Yeah, I believe it has changed. I think growing up Catholic, I was very much entrenched in the conditioning of a hell and a heaven. And each year that I learn more, that has changed. I believe that there is something greater than us. I don't know what that is. And that gives me a little bit of excitement about the whole process of death.
Right. And that's where, for me, I lose the fear of death too, because I didn't grow up Catholic, but I went to a Catholic school. My mother's a minister, so I grew up Christian and I grew up in the church. Yes, I'm a PK. And so growing up, that was, heaven or hell. But now that I'm an adult that can think for themselves, I feel like right now where we are is heaven or hell. Because right now, right here, where we are living this human experience, to me, is heaven or hell. Heaven or hell is a state of mind.
Yep.
So I practice gratitude as often as I possibly can. So when I'm in my state of gratitude, I'm in a heavenly mind state.
Right.
And when I'm going through hell, I'm going through hell on earth. Like this is it.
Yeah.
You have, this may be a trigger warning for a lot of people, but we have wars happening right now. There's innocent children being killed. There's elderly being, this is hell.
Absolutely.
There's places being on fire all day long.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, and when you do people wrong, you get your payment back here. So I think this right here, right now, is our heaven or hell. And I'm not, trying to dismiss anyone's belief or anything of that nature. It's just my mindset of death has also changed as I've gotten older. I do also feel like you that there is something greater. And it does give me some excitement. I talk about it with my friends. When I come back, I want to be a pigeon so I can shit on people. Like, that is what I want to do. I want to shit on all the people who shitted on me when I was a human. I'm just going to fly around like, there you are. Got you. Like, I'm going to wait till their car just got washed and just shit on their cars.
Yes.
That was way off topic, but yeah, that's my...
Oh boy.
That's my mindset about death. And when I text my friend, I'm like, how you doing, pigeon? Because we gonna come back and shit on people.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to think about that.
You got a red shiny car? Remember when you just shit on their car? Sorry. Let's get back to
the topic.
When you first decided to do this, how did your close ones feel about this, your loved ones? How did they respond to you becoming a death doula?
I have 2 boys. I don't think that fazed them because I'm always, I think, doing something, trying to learn something. My husband is hesitant. I think he's getting there if that's the only conversation we're having, he's slowly coming over to the dark side. I think I told my best friend and she was like, dear God, why? And then I explained to her. And I think the more you talk about it with people, the more that initial barrier gets broken down and people actually begin to listen, right? So there's a part of me that want to do this because I really feel as though our fear of talking about death and dying and even thinking about our mortality is something that's systemic, right? It's built in so that the system could continue to capitalize on our ignorance. And one of the reasons why I think I've really leaned into it when I was doing my training with Elua Arthur, one of the things she said was that, doula work is social justice work. And I perked up in the class. I was like, what? Yeah, death doula work is social justice work, because you begin to understand how the system has manipulated us and continues to do that in service of money. Right? So when we think about a capitalistic system and capitalism, when you are fearful and you've never spoken about death and dying, and suddenly someone has died, you're in mourning. You do not have the capacity to think clearly about all the things you need to put in place, yeah? But guess what? If you've never done it, there you find yourself at the funeral home. What happens? The guy reads you all the list of things that you need to do. By the time you walk out of there, what happens? The price of you saying goodbye to your loved one is over $12,000.
It's a financial burden.
So how are we bearing the brunt of this financial burden and still trying to close the wealth gap? Yeah? So that's part of the work that we're doing in trying to educate and just trying to share with folks, this is more than your fear of not wanting to have the discussion. This is also really about how are we going to explore different ways to dismantle the system, right? To break away from the chains. Yeah. And that for me is what's important in the work. Yeah.
I didn't even think of that part of it. Because you know what? Life insurance is a whole nother conversation for another day. Has working with death so closely changed how you live your life?
That's the purpose. That is, in essence, the purpose. When you begin to consider your own mortality and tomorrow is not promised, whatever it is you want to do today, you do it. Right? But I think we often feel as though, first of all, we think death only happens in old age, right? So we're not there yet. And then we hear the horrific stories that happen. And so if we begin to think more clearly about the fact that this at some point will end, what legacy do you want to leave? Why wait until you're on your deathbed to think about, did I treat each person well? Right? Did I forgive people I was supposed to forgive? Did I make a mark that's worthy of discussing, if that's what you want to do? Why wait until you're on the deathbed? Knowing that all of us are going there. 100%, we're not getting away from it, right? So no matter how much money you have, no matter who you are, no matter what job you do, right? Level set playing field to some point, because marginalized communities do not experience death in the same way as the folks in the upper echelons of society. Yeah. So how can we, again, begin to take that into consideration as we think about dismantling a system that continues to oppress?
Do you have questions for her, Javi?
Honestly, this is the first time in a long time I've been speechless.
Yeah, Javi is never really speechless.
I know, my wife, she's a nurse in labor and delivery. She's always been fascinated about the work that doulas do, life doulas, right? And seeing that holistic approach to just dealing with humanity at a stage in life where I think a lot of us don't like to think about. I think that we're fortunate to have people like you who are willing, because the older you get, the more people die in your life. That's right. So, I've experienced my share, and I can see the value of this. Yeah. And that's it.
Yeah, I definitely think death brings you closer to appreciating life more and more. Like, this isn't a rehearsal. This is real.
This is it.
And I know one of my downfalls in life is living a YOLO lifestyle. I'm always like, you know what? I'm only getting this one life. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. I don't believe in waiting for the right time, because to me, life is always happening. So there's never going to really be a right time to do something. Just do it. If you have the capacity to do it, whatever that is, do it.
But we've been conditioned to plan, right?
Yeah, that planning stuff.
Yeah, people plan when they're getting married. People plan when they're going to get pregnant. People plan when it's the way we've been sort of socialized. And so the only thing we don't plan for
is our death.
is our death. We plan everything else.
So if it wasn't against the law, I would want a Viking funeral.
Who said it's against the law?
That's what I was told. And on the internet, I was told that it's against the law. I just want to be put on a ship and set it on fire and push me into the ocean.
You should write that down in a book.
I want that.
So that's some of the things that a doula helps you with, right? Like sitting down, as far as you know, you're fine, nothing is happening, but you just expressed a wish that would matter should something happen to you. Mm-hmm. Who knows about that wish?
My kids.
Well, good.
And they laugh at me, and then, they don't want to talk about it, but...
Well, that's the other thing, right? That's what we find that, which is why I say a book is needed, right? So writing that down somewhere, like in the event of my death, this is how I would like to be celebrated.
I want to be put on a book.
Right? Mm-hmm. And perhaps even now researching, is that legal in Massachusetts? Where is that legal?
How much is it going to cost?
How much is it going to cost, right? Because again, we're in a system that continues to benefit, right? Through money. Everything is money. And so learning about that is really helpful. When I started I never wanted to be buried because I've moved around so much. Nowhere feels like home.
Okay.
Right? I also didn't like the idea of a cremation because that felt like hell for the second time.
My dad said it was death for a second time.
Right? And so in learning this and doing this work, there's so many different ways for your body to be disposed of. So I have learned about something called aquamation, which is a water version of cremation. So instead of you being pushed in something that is full of flames and will roast you like a turkey, you are instead put in water. An alkaline-based solution keeps turning you until everything dissolves. I called a funeral home to find out about that. It is not legal in Massachusetts, but there are funeral homes in Massachusetts who will accommodate that for you, should that be your choice.
I kind of like that too.
Right? There are things like green burials.
I've heard of those.
Right? Where if you think about the amount of, I think I read somewhere, and I don't know if this is fact or not, I will research it, but the amount of metal that we put in the earth annually could build the Golden Gate Bridge. So if you're someone who is environmentally conscious and concerned about your carbon footprint in the world, then a burial with a fancy, expensive casket and the concrete and the formaldehyde solution is not the way to go. And this is not anything against, please don't come for me.
Or me.
This is not anything against the funeral industry. It is just widening the scope. Right? And widening our aperture in terms of how we know the body can be disposed.
Right.
And they don't tell us that.
No, because I didn't know about the aqua one. Did not know about that.
Yep. Water cremation. Look it up. It's fascinating.
Yes.
And again, it's not legal in Massachusetts, but there are homes here. I have called one to arrange and discuss my own aquamation in the event of my death and find out the cost and all that stuff. And so
it's costly,
I have some,
it's expensive.
Well, it's right now in this time, the price that was quoted was somewhere around $5,000.
Oh, it's not too bad.
Which is, they come, they get the body, they take it to a state where it is legal. They come back, and once the process is complete, they go get your ashes and they bring it back for you.
Isn't it interesting how when you're alive, you have a name, and when you transition, you're the body.
Right.
I've always found that to be entertaining. Like, oh, nobody has a name anymore after you die.
Nobody
it's
cares.
just the body.
Nobody cares.
The body. We're not going to get Joe. We're coming to get the body.
And that's part of our disconnect with befriending death, right? We want it to be separate because we don't even want to like remember the person by name because it's no longer existing.
Yes.
That person is no longer existing.
That might be like the final acceptance of it for some people, I guess. I don't know.
Right?
You have a question, Javi?
So it's not that I disagree with that assessment of people. It's just that, like, so I'm an atheist, right? And so I obviously don't believe in an afterlife. But I value life tremendously. And for me, a body, trigger warning, a body is just a body to me, right? It's whatever your constituent parts are, whatever, right? And then that's it. But that doesn't mean I am blank to the implications of death. I know my wife, she's not an atheist, and I know it's not going to happen because she's way healthier than I am. If she ever passed before I did, I would do everything, despite my understanding, and even though I know she's not here, I would do everything I can to do what she would wish her funeral and everything would be. But I think for somebody like me, I value legacy more than anything, right? Like for me, it's like, what do you leave behind? And I get solace from that. Like the same way somebody would get solace from like a creator or an afterlife. Like for me, it's like, what kind of, did I leave the world better in my own little way than it was before? You know what I mean? Like, so I think sometimes just because some people do see the body as just a body, and I know this isn't in all cases, but I know just in my case in particular, it doesn't mean that I don't value like life or even like death based on the people that I care about and how they feel about it. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm just rambling.
It does.
Definitely makes sense.
But who holds right now for you? I mean, this is so beautiful that you're sharing this, right? Because it also means that you've thought of your own death. Who's holding this gem of a conversation in terms of your legacy besides you? Right, and I think that's what's important. If we could normalize having death conversations, then it's like any other conversation, and people don't shut down, and we can begin to share, storytell about what are some of the things that you'd like when you die. I mean, you're saying, yes, you will honor your wife's wishes. That's fantastic. Does she know what you want? Are people having conversations where, you have some idea when it happens, because it will, how to honor this person beautifully in a way that just feels sacred, right? I think that's the whole premise. It's not necessarily a morbid fascination.
Right.
It really is for us to begin to normalize the conversation so we could sit around a table and say, like, what would you want? How have you thought about if you're lying on the bed and you know your final moments are near, how do you want to be celebrated? I mean, there are people having living funerals. Did you know that?
I only saw that on Coming to America Part 2. When King Joffrey had a living funeral, he was like, he wants to be, you didn't watch Coming to America Part 2?
Is that what it is? Is that a living funeral?
Yeah, he was alive for his funeral because he was like, if I'm dead, how am I going to know what happened? So he had a funeral while he was alive and he died during it. But
that's funny.
He died during his living funeral, but he did have one.
Yeah.
And then he died while he was sitting up in his casket. And it's so funny that you mentioned your mother and her suitcase, because I remember going to Honduras a few times as a kid. And one of my cousin's grandmother, she had her casket at the foot of her bed. Like, as a kid, I was like, this is creepy. Like,
creepy.
you have a casket already made for you.
She chose
like,
it, had it made or what that. Yes.
It was already made. And it's also funny that you mentioned how people that died too.
Yeah.
And then my father died 3 years ago and I was like, wow, everybody's going to die. Granted, I've experienced death all along, but it wasn't until my father died and I was like, wow, we're really all going to die.
Yeah.
Like that's when death
like if your dad could die.
I was like, oh, if my father could die, everybody could die. Because when you're born, your grandparents, they're already old. For those of us who have grandparents in our lives, your grandparents are already old. So in your head, you're like, oh, they're old. They're going to die.
Yeah.
But even when I was in elementary school, I had a friend in second grade that passed away, but it didn't click. It didn't click till my father died 4 years ago that we're really all gonna die.
So it's so funny you said that because my first death was someone who I think I might have been like in kindergarten. I was really young. And in the Caribbean, of course, at that time, nobody's thinking about the psychological effect of what this will do to the class. What they did do was to haul everybody to the cemetery. We went to the funeral. And I remember like kind of trying to negotiate in my little mind, like, what does this mean?
Right.
This is somebody who used to run around and play with me. Like, what does this mean? And it's quite profound at that age for you to be trying to think of something that's such a huge thing, right?
Yeah.
Something of such great magnitude. And so maybe now that as you said that lit that spark, that it could be even from then that my curiosity began.
Started
with,
and that could have been my fear.
Yeah.
And then like, oh my God, my friend in second grade died. I'm in second grade too.
Right.
Can I die?
And what does that mean?
Yeah.
I think at that age, you really don't understand death in terms of this person you will never, ever see again.
Yeah. That's why I do my best. People might feel, might think I'm clingy or it's just like, what's the word? Attachment issues. Maybe it's all of the above. But baby, if I love you, you're going to know. Because we're here today and we're gone today.
Right.
If I love you, you're going to know.
Yeah.
You're going to feel it. You're going to hear it. There's never going to be a doubt in your mind like, damn, does Panda like me?
Yeah.
I wonder if she feels okay. You're going to know if I like you or if I don't.
Yep.
You're going to know because there's so many people walking around like, oh my God, I don't think anybody loves me. Baby, if Panda's in your life, you best believe I love you.
Oh, yeah.
You got to worry about that. You ever feeling unloved, come on over because you might go to sleep that night and not wake up and never feel like you were ever loved during your life.
And that might be the thing that gives someone peace in their moment of death.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy? I always say, I hope this doesn't happen. However, I'd be like, you know what? I think I'm going to die from not having enough love because this world is so that's probably what's going to be my demise. Not having enough love.
You love yourself more.
Right. But because I love myself so much.
Yep.
It shouldn't be my demise.
It
but
shouldn't. Yes.
There are people out there who can definitely die from broken hearts. And because this world is so
real phenomenon.
cruel.
It is a real phenomenon.
If I don't get my farm in Puerto Rico, I could get away from humanity. The coldness of this world is going to definitely be my demise.
Yo, was there a memo I missed? You're like the third woman I've heard in the past 2 weeks talking about getting a farm.
Want to live off the grid.
What's happening?
Men. So let's go back to...
Good. All right, cool. All right, word.
Sorry, people. The people are people.
No, honestly, I think that was the motivation for the other two people that said it.
I'm pretty sure it really was.
It's crazy.
Honestly, yes, it is a people thing, but it's men then people for me.
Dang.
But we kind of got off topic. We can loop this back around. We did talk about how your field being a death doula is a little bit different from all the other industries. Because that was one of my questions. How is being a death doula different from hospice care or being a hospice nurse?
Mm-hmm. So, for instance, right now I volunteer and I have a hospice patient. And he's 95 years old. The hospice nurse comes to his home to do all the medical things, any sort of pain meds, vital signs, right? Anything that requires a clinical skill set. I'm just there to love up on him. I'm here to sit down and read, maybe play a game, listen to him. I asked him recently about how did you sleep last night? And he said he dreamt of home, right? And so that's what I'm there for. Perhaps he's had that all his life, but, your family lives all over. This is a time I think it's really sacred, and folks aren't always able to be present, right? And so we went walking recently.
He's 95 and he could walk? That's what I'm talking about. Yes.
And in my mind, of course, you start making stories up about people, right? In my mind, I think to myself, he must have lived a good life to be 95 and still walking and, have his faculties. I mean, he is ill, and, hospice happens when the doctors sort of figure you have 6 months or less to live, right? So he might be walking around, but we don't know what's happening internally.
Inside, yeah.
But that just gives me a lot of joy to be able to be present for him in this moment of his life. Right? So the hospice nurse is taking care of all the clinical stuff. I'm just there, like I said, to
love him.
love him.
Oh, that's so sweet. I think I could do that, but I couldn't at the same time because then, I have attachment issues. And when he died, I'm going to be bawling down the place like, no.
And that's okay.
I know.
That's okay.
Because he's gone. He won't even know I'm bawling down the place.
But again, that's some of the ways in which, again, if we come back to this systemic approach, they've kind of taught us that loudness or expression of your grief, right, is invalidating. And like, shh.
Yeah.
Why? These are some of the ways in which the system, again, has conditioned us. So another part of the death doula work is navigating grief and loss. If you think about it, working out there in the world, how many days do you get to grieve?
Right. You don't really get to.
Before they expect you back to work.
You get 5 days.
Some places 3.
See, and that's madness because real grief listen, that's just not enough time.
Right? Grief and loss is different in each of us, right?
Yep, we all process it differently.
We all process it differently. So when you think about that, how many of us are walking around
grieving?
Thank you.
I had this conversation with someone the other day and I said, that's why it's okay to just be nice to people just because everyone is walking around with some form of grief. We are all out here grieving people that are alive and people that are dead.
We're also grieving things that are happening.
Yeah.
Right now in the United States, we are grieving,
for
the
others.
Loss of what was once normal. Whatever that was. For each of us.
How it looked, how it felt.
Right.
We're grieving the life we thought we were going to have for whatever reason.
Right.
We're all grieving something.
Grieving. Yeah, we're all grieving. And so have compassion and give grace to the way we're navigating this space because the system doesn't allow us to sit long enough to grieve.
It doesn't.
Right?
Not in America anyway.
And so we're walking around with that. So yes, I will sit and talk about death and dying for as long as I could, just to expand people's mind about, because that's what Unveiling the Shroud is about, right? We have been blinded by all the things so that the system can benefit, right? Don't grieve long because you need to get back to the
work.
Production line. We don't have time for grieving, and while you're there, you also know that you have all these bills to pay, right? Because of course we lean into the system until it's like too late. We're like, damn. So then you go there and you're Not every day you can show up brave, strong, and resilient.
Nope.
Right? Some days that stuff is kicking your ass.
And you still have to.
And you still have to.
Yeah, that's the crazy part of this life experience. No matter what's going on, you got to push through.
Yeah.
Yeah. At what point in someone's illness do families usually call you?
It all depends. If you are knowledgeable about a death doula, you retain a death doula. You can retain a death doula and not even be dying. You want to get stuff in order, stuff like your advance directives. If something should happen to you, God forbid, do you want to be intubated? And if so, for how long? If you don't give those specific kind of directions and you're leaving it up to the system, right? And you think about healthcare, the system is just there to keep you alive for as long as possible. That's how healthcare is. We fix things, right? But what if you're not that person? What if you're like, I don't want to be hooked up if we know that it's not going to end well? Like,
Right.
Where is that written, right? So some people have the doula to sort of begin to think about their legacy, think about their planning, think about their will, and then they're done. They might not ever need you again until that time, right? So it's not always at the point of death. Usually it is for folks who are having these conversations often enough where they realize the value of having someone just come in and talk to them about what are some of the things they should have lined up and ready to go. My other partner, doula, we host workshops. And those workshops are meant to normalize death and dying conversations, but also share with people, especially in the community, the ways in which you can begin to organize so that it's to your benefit, right, and not the system's. Right?
Yeah, gotta beat the system. Definitely gotta beat the system. Yeah.
So is this like an indictment on the state of the family structure? Because I feel like you brought up Honduras, right? For instance, I used to spend my summers there, and I saw a few funerals at the times I visited, and the culture around death there is different. And so the body in the casket will be in the home for a certain amount of time, right? They're very superstitious. So literally the whole family will be sleeping in the same bed, a couple nights before and after the funeral. It doesn't, there's not a moment of loneliness during death in that culture. And I feel like it's also prevalent in many other cultures.
Yeah.
So as neat as their services are, it seems very specific to a certain type of culture.
Yeah.
In particular ours. Can you speak on that?
Yeah, well, we've forgotten or disconnected from what the elders have done in the past, right? Or how rituals and community is so embedded in the culture back home and indigenous cultures. And we can say, for instance, that's superstition. And also it is helping to create support for the person in need at the time of death, right? So it's the fabric of community is just so important. And this culture has driven so far away from that even folks who have come from cultures where that is something that is shared tend to forget. Like funerals used to happen in homes, right? When I remember when I went to Uganda, I saw this car passing by with a casket and a body in it. And I wasn't doing doula work yet. And I was like, well, that's crazy. is it? Right? They were going to place the body in the home, and what tends to happen is the entire village comes and celebrates. We've forgotten that. So we've gotten so commercialized that we don't even know how to take care of the dead if that happens, right? In different cultures, they wash the body. Part of my training was learning how to wash the body, if that's something that the family is interested in. And that's something you can request. Again, if we've left it up to this sort of sterile way of treating death and dying, we are not open to what possibly could happen.
Right.
A home funeral can so happen, but if you're not talking about it, if you're not investigating it, you're not going to know.
That's what I want. I didn't know what I wanted, but I want that.
Now you know.
I want a home funeral.
Yeah.
I want y'all to get lit too.
Not only that, if you bury yourself in your yard, it's like tax free now or something like that.
You don't have to pay taxes on the property.
Nah, send my ashes to space.
Send your ashes to space.
That's what I want. Like I literally want that. That's what I want. Yeah, I want to do that.
To know they do that.
Listen, I just want a big fat as I'm being sent off on that ship. I want a garifuna band with the punta. I want a rhythm section.
Oh yeah.
As y'all are sending me out, I want the thing, and then oh my god.
We got you.
Yo. And I want the spread of foods. I want machuca, tapado. I want everything. I want everybody to eat till they belly bust. Like, I want the big party. Like, gotta be lit.
Celebration, yeah.
I need a table with dominoes. I need a table with cards. And then a dance floor. Everybody's just dancing and having the time of their life.
Listen, she's making that verbal
I tell my kids all the time.
Yeah.
I tell my kids I want a big party.
Yeah.
And then they just walk away from me. But I want a big party.
That's part of the problem too, right?
It's a media.
So my mom, she's retiring soon. She, in her life, she's amassed a lot of assets. She's done very well in her life. And we're kind of at this point now where we're having this discussion. And I would love to say it's her fault that the discussion hasn't really progressed. But I'm going to take some blame because every time we talk about it, I'm thinking about my mom passing away. And I'm like, bro, I don't want to do I understand your kids. I'm like, yo, damn, I don't want to. But the way we're talking about it right now, like, this is the most lighthearted I've talked about death ever in my life. Yeah. So I'm just like, yo, you want to, after the show, you want to come with me to my mom's house? Like, she's just.
That's part of what the Death Doula does.
That's why you can call her at any time.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to be dying or sick. It's
absolutely. It's part of facilitating the possibility that we can have this conversation in a way where the important things get done. I mean, why wait until the last minute? Let's say, for instance, your assets. And a lot of, I'm just delving into things like estates and stuff and putting your estate in trust. As opposed to just putting it in a will, because sometimes we think if we put it in a will, it's taken care of, but then you have to
probate.
Go to court, right?
You have to go to probate.
And then, your family is there in probate for years sometimes.
It can definitely take a long time, months to years, yeah.
And so one of the things, I will just drop this quick gem, one of the things that I recently learned, for instance, is that your bank accounts, let's say you have a checking account, it's got a couple $1,000s in it. When you die, if that's not part of the estate, that gets frozen, right? However, if you go to your bank and you say, can I have one of those payable upon death forms? What that means is on your account, it's going to have payable upon death to my daughter, signed, sealed, and delivered, meaning immediately after your death, that cash is accessible to whosever name is on it. Right? That's important because sometimes your money gets tied up.
It gets mishandled. And there's no one to say yes, no, maybe so.
And the legal system, nothing against the legal system, gets paid for like the confusion that you're in.
Everybody's getting paid but you.
Right.
Yeah.
Wouldn't we want to take care of that before? You've worked really hard. You've amassed assets. What is your plan for that? Mm-hmm. We're all going to die. Whose name needs to be on it? And maybe whose secondary name needs to be on it? Because, again, we're making the assumption all the time that the older folks are going to leave before the younger folks. And
the way life is going, they're burying us. I'm just saying.
Deep breath.
Deep breath. Inhale, exhale. Just to piggyback off of what you said about wanting to leave legacies, I do know someone that has already written their obituary just so that they can actually live that lifestyle. So that, whatever is there is actually what they did in life.
Yeah.
And that's the legacy that they're getting ready to leave.
Just something for folks to think about.
It is. It definitely is. We just got the 10-minute marker, but it's okay. Because the next question, I think we kind of touched upon it a little bit. Have you noticed differences in how different communities or cultures talk about dying and or avoid it?
Absolutely. Right? The community, the marginalized community, the folks that are always on the outskirts trying to get in, are definitely a group of people, us, that feel differently and have a different thought system and access, right? When we think about hospice, for instance, who has access to hospice?
Right.
It's all about access and equity, right? When we think about whether or not you've already planned if something should happen to you, what would happen in the hospital? We already know historically healthcare is something that has abused, misused the Black and brown body. Mm-hmm. Why give more reason for that?
Hello, they're selling our parts.
Why give more reason? Have everything in writing. Have your family members know, right? So that at the time, and I think sometimes we think if we talk about death, we're going to die.
We're going to die next. I know, that's, I'm like, oh my God, we're going to die tonight in my sleep.
We're going to die anyway.
We are, this is true, but I ain't ready to go yet. I got things to do.
Right, we're going to die anyway, but why not be prepared the way we prepare for everything in life? And I do honestly believe that the more we normalize the conversation, the richer our lives will be, because then we begin to be very present for what's happening every day. Mm-hmm. Every day.
This is true. Absolutely true. What would you say to someone that is afraid of dying?
You should be afraid of dying. I'm afraid of dying, but that doesn't prevent me from having the conversation.
Right.
That doesn't prevent me from planning, right? Why are you afraid of dying? What is it you're afraid of?
The turnip I'm going to be missing. You know how many fats I can't wind down the place too. Oh my God. I want to just wind till I can't wind no more. That's what I'm afraid of. That's what I'm afraid of. Because I know once I leave here, this is it. I know in my head, I don't really think there's an afterlife, but if there is, I'm going to be a pigeon and I can't whine in a fat as a pigeon while I'm shitting on people. Like it just is no way for me to transform from a human being in a fat to a bird flying around shitting on people. That's one of my biggest fears, just one of them, but I mean, like, damn, I can't.
I'm just ultimately delusional.
You're delusional.
Like, I feel like, I know this ain't gonna happen, but I'm like, yo, the way medical science is advancing, by the time I'm like 80, they could put like my brain in a machine.
Would you want to do that?
Me? Yes. And I've had this I understand most people will be like, nah, but I want to like, all right, let me not say that.
You can definitely say it if you want to, because I want to piggyback off of that. I do a lot of piggyback it.
So I get, I don't fear death. What I do, the only negative component of death to me is missing out on whatever it is humanity had. Like, I feel like us as a species, we have so much potential, and if we don't blow each other up, right? Which is, I don't know.
Look like it's coming now.
World
War III.
I don't know. But I feel like there's so much stuff, and I want to be part of it. Like I want to be.
Yeah,
it's FOMO, right? Like it's like
yes, I have FOMO.
It's FOMO, and that's what it is. And how do you deal with that? Like me, I'm just being delusional. Like they're gonna put my brain in a robot, and I'm gonna live forever, and I'm gonna see everything in the universe. But like I feel like I'm gonna get to a point where that might get depressing, right? Like man, I'm gonna pass away, and I have 6 months to live. I'm in hospice care, like. How do you? I mean,
the question.
How do you deal with that? Yeah.
Well, you're saying, where we have so much potential and there's so much out there. Are you participating with that same passion in the world now?
Interesting.
That's the ask. Yeah. By knowing that you're gonna die, right? Yeah. Are you participating as if you're gonna die? And that's why I say it creates a richer lifestyle when you can get up every morning and look out your window and see the sun, and the sky is beautiful, and you can take the time to pause in the madness of your day to say, damn, that is amazing. Mm-hmm. That starts your day differently. Mm-hmm. Yeah? And so, I get in my car and I drive through Franklin Park and I think, this is just beautiful. Mm-hmm. And don't let it start to get warm. That's when I start really getting excited.
Everything starts to unmelt.
Yo, these past couple of days.
Yesterday was just amazing, right?
There was a different version of Amanda outside.
Exactly. Why can't we be like that every day? And that's the teach.
So I kind of sort of am like that every day, and people want to medicate me. They be like, "What's wrong with you, child?"
Nothing's wrong with you. What's wrong with them?
I'm high off life. Yes. Why aren't you?
Yes.
Yes.
My daughter made me think that way.
Yeah.
Because I want to slow things down a bit. Because I'm 41 and she's 2. So I'm like, yo, I gotta I ain't gonna be here for her whole life. You know what I mean? So she's kind of forced me to kind of be more intentional with my day and kind of slow down and just appreciate things. And but that's kind of a cheat code. That's a kid. Not everybody has that, but I'm appreciative of it. So
and this is off topic, and I know we're running out of time, but I've always say this to people. People be like, "Oh God, I can't wait till Friday. I can't wait till Friday." After Friday, Monday comes right back, right? Mm-hmm. You're rushing the week to rush the week again.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Live in the moment. I get it. We all want to get to Friday because we want the weekend to get here. But when the weekend gets here, what are you doing on the weekend?
Yeah.
Scrolling,
hoping the weekend don't end. You blink, we back at Monday. And the thing I wanted to piggyback on is when you stated that you feel like when people live to be 90 years old, they lived a good life. I disagree with that. Mm-hmm. I think when people live that long, that's their punishment.
Yo.
Only because the saying, the good die young.
But that's just a saying.
I understand that. And so that's where my mind is at. Because of that saying, the good die young. So to me, I feel like if you're 90, 100, whatever years old, that's your karma. Because you treated people like shit when you were younger. And so for now, your creator is making you suffer as this human being. You have no friends alive, no family alive. Everybody got to wipe your ass. And a lot of times, those are usually the independent people. They were very self-sufficient. They were strong, and so now when you see them in this state, a lot of times they're depressed because they're like, damn, everybody's dead that I knew. Yeah. I don't have any strength. I can't piss on my own. I can't shit on my own. I have this bag. I have you to clean me. That's suffrage.
You don't gotta be like that at 90
You don't.
Something.
However, a lot of times that is the case because your bones don't work like they used to. I'm just saying, that's just perspective. Yeah. Sometimes I think those people that live long like that, that's their karma. You treated people like trash in your younger years when you could have chosen to treat people better and you chose not to.
I'm gonna stop you there.
That's just my crazy thinking.
Yo, throw down the law. Let her know what's up.
That's just my crazy
thoughts. And how old was your dad when he died?
75.
Do you consider that old or young?
I think that's middle age. However, at the same time, I know that men's life expectancy is 75. And because he ran himself ragged when he was younger, you know, and he was a madman. He didn't want to go to the doctor. He didn't want to talk to nobody about what the doctor did say if he did go. So granted, yeah, I may have my black dress ready. He was fed up with life. But I think that's because he was in so much pain.
Yeah.
He was at the age, he was always in pain, cortisone shots and all those things. But then when I sit down and reflect, I was like, you were a womanizer. Did you think your last days on life were going to be good? I'm just, you know, these are the thoughts I think of when I see people start to slowly transition. And then I'm not trying to say that, and I know no one in this world is perfect. However, when you are here on this, living this human experience, you do have opportunities to make things right. Do people actually do that? Just like you mentioned earlier, do people actually try to make things right before they get to that point? And to me, when I see people dying like a horrible death, I don't think they made those amends with people. That's just my thought process.
No, it's a good way to...
I could be absolutely wrong.
Yep.
But when I just see people dying those horrible deaths, I'm like, damn, you weren't nice to people. You weren't nice to people when you could have been. Yeah. And because you chose to be so nasty and mean and miserable and whatever you were, these are how your last days are going to be.
Yeah. So for all of you out there,
I think about that a lot. Like, just because someone is old, like 100 and whatever, doesn't mean that necessarily they lived a good life. That could be their punishment. It's just a thought.
Yeah. For my husband's patient, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, that patient could have been a good guy. There's always exceptions to the rules. You know, there's always that anomaly. Sure. I'm not saying no. It just makes me think like, because the way life is, you still have to pay bills. Now you're somebody's burden. Your family don't want to come and take care of you because they want to probably fat or sleep or they got kids, you know. And a lot of times when you hear people talk about how they had to take care of their parents, they're like, God, I can't wait till they die. Oh, no. And that's so trash. Like, I can't even say it's trash because you don't know what their experience was with that person. But it's depending on the person in their life and their experience and who they have left to take care of them. It's like, did you really right your wrongs before you got to this point? Because somebody got to wipe your backside. And I'm just saying, I don't. Yeah. And a lot of times it be these men in these nursing homes alone because they were womanizers and didn't treat their families proper. So my farm is coming. Pick a card, any card. You read it.
Oh, I'm going to read it. What's a little thing that makes you happy?
What's the little thing that makes you happy?
Cuddles.
Oh, you like cuddles with the old people or the young people? Anybody. You just like the cuddles.
Yeah, I like to cuddle. I you know, especially the more we dig into like this idea of how we carry this magnetic field as humans and our connection, right, is energetic. Like getting a hug, a real hug, is just so juicy.
Listen, when somebody hugs you and they squeeze you and you feel your backbone starts like,
yeah.
Like, where was this all my life?
That's a hug.
Yes, and then when you let go and then they still holding you like, oh my God, this is amazing. I love hugs.
Yeah, not the doggy pat, the real hugs.
Yeah, those are traumatized people. My mom does that.
Like, like they don't even want to hug.
Like, if you don't let me feel your heartbeat with mine,
exactly.
Stay a little longer. Let our hearts sync. Yes, let's bond. It's okay. God, something little that makes me excited, smiles. I think when I see people smile, I'm like, what you smiling about? And now all of a sudden I'm smiling.
Yeah.
Smiles are contagious. And it's just, I love to see joy and happiness, just genuine.
And it's such a simple thing.
It is. It's such a little thing. Like you see someone smile, like, somebody's happy.
And you look out there, you know, people, oh my God.
There's not a lot of smiles out there these days. So when I see it, I'm like, please keep smiling. Don't stop.
Yeah.
I love it. What is something little that makes you happy, Javi?
Little? Yo. Man, just the realization that it's not little. Nothing that makes me happy is little. But anyways, the realization that people love me, especially after this conversation, especially because I know there's so many men that are lonely, and I've felt lonely internally, like with my own mental issues or whatever, but I've never been truly lonely. I've always had, in particular, Black women who has always been like always had my corner. Always like that. Like, so that thought makes me happy.
Good. That is good to know. I didn't get to all my questions, but that's okay because we probably touched upon them during our conversation. Yeah. This was a fantastic, wonderful conversation with you, Lisa. I'm so happy that you were able to make it and for us to get this out there to the people.
Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. Is there anyone you would like to give a shout out to while you're here before we go?
Ooh, shout out to Four Corners Yoga Wellness.
Bop, 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 bop.
Yeah, shout out to Four Corners.
Yeah, and the wonderful work we're doing in the community and the consistency and dedication to like uplifting us.
Yes, absolutely. Well, quick question before we go. With this work that you do, what do you do to take care of you?
When I teach yoga, I feel like I'm nourishing myself. I do meditate. And I, again, since doing this doula work, I am more present for meetings. Like, you know, when I meet friends, I intentionally, actively listen. I'm not in my head writing a, to-do list and stuff. Yeah, the phone's away. I'm not paying attention to that. I am now more than ever in my life, more present with people. And that's a big deal because I can remember like being with folks and
10 things going on at once.
All the things I have to do in the past and the present.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that is such a distraction. I'm beginning to learn that that's a distraction and that that's not really being present with the someone or the people that you're hanging out with. That's my new thing. So that's what I do for me. Intention.
I love that.
Thank you.
Well, you guys, this was another great episode of Pandagasms. Make sure you're following us on all platforms. It's Panda, P-A-N-D-A, Gasms. Click like, hit subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Peace, love, and light. Good night.
Good night.